My mind is blown. Progressives. What have you become? What exactly is progressive about the new progressive movement? The progressive movement used to be something that cared about poor people, tried to make sure that people were able to get off their feet, that people were actually able to get into a position where they can actually fucking live. Maybe progressives didn't understand, maybe they didn't understand when it was the real progressive movement, when it wasn't this bullshit that we have now. Maybe they didn't understand the economics. Maybe they didn't understand that FDR really wasn't the greatest president in the world. Maybe they didn't understand it, but they wanted to help people and they didn't really care about race. Progressives never cared about race. Never. The only thing that they cared about was getting people to understand that maybe certain people had it a little bit harder than other people. Maybe we didn't really understand. Maybe we didn't actually ask any questions further than how can we get the government to help people out. Maybe our entire ideology based upon economic thought of how to help people through the force of the state, maybe it was misled, maybe it was misguided, maybe in some way we thought we were going to do the whole entire world a better service. Most of those progressives have moved on to the libertarian movement because those progressives were the people who actually cared, the people who actually gave a shit about other people. They were actually the people who were anti-war. They were actually the people that saw what the military was doing and didn't excuse the military just because a Democratic president was the one that was heading the military. Maybe those real progressives are still there in the progressive movement. Maybe. I highly doubt it. I highly doubt the fact that anyone who is a true progressive is still within this pseudo fucking fascist piece of fucking garbage that they call the progressive movement now. Political correctness. Sure, a lot of people, a lot of real progressives may have been PC. I can tell you this, I wasn't. As a progressive, I was not PC. I was not politically correct because I knew, just like a lot of other leftists at that time, I knew that didn't do anything. Political correctness was actually part of the regressive movement. It was just another side of the regressives that we established the right was. Obviously, we were wrong in the point of economic theory. We were correct in the point of war, where we shouldn't be warring with other nations and everything else like that, and that in itself was regressive, but we were wrong about the economic theories of the right, because the economic theories of the right were mostly true. We never saw that because we saw, or at least I saw, economics, that thinking in terms of purely economic standards was cold and calculated. But when you actually learn about it, when you actually learn about economics, it gives you a whole new perspective. It's not cold and calculating. It's just the study of how human beings interact with one another. How they get things that they want and need through transactions that are win-win instead of win-lose. How an entire economic system was thought to be a capitalist society. Thankfully, Ron Paul opened me up to the idea that it wasn't capitalism that we have. No, it's not capitalism. It's corporatism. It's crony capitalism. It's fascism. Because when you have the government in bed with corporations, what you get is fascism. And then, of course, you'll have a lot of leftists saying that, well, fascism and what we have now is only a result of capitalism. That capitalism breeds the things that we have now, that are corporations. When in fact, if you actually look into what a corporation is, it is the exact opposite of what a company is. A corporation is something that gets publicly funded by all of the United States, which is fascism. What is capitalism but people being beholden to their customers? They're not able to do anything else besides what the customers want, because they don't get a big ass paycheck from the American taxpayer. When they fuck up, they die. That's why corporations are not a part of the capitalist system. In the capitalist system, there wouldn't be any corporations. And that is one of the things that people finally get, or finally have gotten in the real progressive movement. The people who are anti-PC, the people who actually cared, the people that were anti-war, whether or not it was being run by a Republican leader or a Democratic leader, it doesn't fucking matter to real progressives. And once they understood and latched on to the idea of what economics is, they become libertarians, minarchists, anarchists. Because they understand that the problem is not within capitalism. It is not within capital. But it's within corporatism. It's within the system that we have now. And that's why we have fucking war. That's why we have all this bullshit. That's why we have the welfare state, which needs to be there right now, because it's made it almost impossible for everyone to get into the workforce and work for themselves. If I were president, I'd probably disregard every single little restriction on the free market, and then I would disembargo the welfare state, because you need it right now. But that's not the point. The point that I was trying to make at the moment is that these people are not progressives. These people who care about whether or not one thing is being called White Christmas, and that is a thing, look it up. People are all of a sudden up in arms because they're using the term white privilege, white Christmas, because they think it propagates some sort of bullshit propaganda that is pushed by the pseudo-leftists, that white people all of a sudden have it better, not because of the individual circumstances that you can actually look at, not because of the statistics, not because of the hard cold facts that might be a little bit diluted and a little bit divergent from the actual understanding of economics, not because, you know, the government isn't helping those people out more, which is in itself a bad idea to have, because it comes from a general misunderstanding of the situation, but it comes from the skin color of a human being. My mind is blown. Political correctness has turned the pseudo-left, has turned the left into a fucking fascist movement. We use terms like white privilege. We're instead of being inclusive to all people and actually not even fucking caring about what the person's race is and regarding them not because of their skin color but because of the content of their character, like fucking Martin Luther King said in his speech, He wasn't talking about race. He was talking about the stupidity that is coming from the pseudo-left now, and that it was coming from the fucking racists back then in the KKK. Progressive. That's the term you use for your stupid fucking movement to progress our society into a racist, fascist piece of shit that relies upon government for everything. Because of race. Not even because of the economic stuff that you don't even care, that you don't even know. It's because of race. It's just because of fucking race. I mean, if you're gonna be a progressive who doesn't understand economics but doesn't care about PC. Otherwise, you're not a fucking progressive. You're a fucking fascist. That's what you are. Blow it out your fucking ass. There is no white privilege. There's no fucking black privilege. Whatever the fuck you want to call it. You want to be a fucking righty? You want to be a fucking fascist on the right? Go be a fascist on the right. Don't call yourself a progressive. You're not a progressive. You're not progressing society. If you wanted to progress society, fucking open up a book and read. This has been Lapse of Apathy, demolishing the pseudo-leftist bullshit. I will talk to you later. Bye.